Welcome back to my class. So let's quickly solve this question. Looking at this question, what do we have to do to this kind of question? I'm quickly going to explain that and see how we can go and solve it. The first thing that we have to look at is to look at this expression. What does this expression, what does it entail? Product notation called pi. And we're going to write them out real quick. This is a product notation. And it is called pi that we all know. So 9 here is the final limit. It's called the final limit. YR, which is equals to, is the starting limit. Or I'll say is the starting point. So R minus 1 is an expression that allows us to be able to solve this from starting point when R equals 2. What this literally means is that when R equals 2 to when R equals 9. So that is why this is the final limit. This is the starting limit. So what we are looking at here, this pi or it's called the product notation, is telling us that we are going to represent this expression in a multiplication series, a repeated multiplication series. Now, what we have to do is let's solve this out real quick. Then we put this back into this equation, then we can solve it. So the meaning of this expression, which is 9 pi R minus 1 R equals 2. The meaning of this is this. So whenever we see R, we put R equals 2. That means 2 minus 1 in a multiplication series expression. So the next, because we're going to 9, the next is whenever our R is 3. So that means we're going to have 3 minus 1. Then the next is going to be 4 minus 1. The next is going to be 5 minus 1. The next is going to be 6 minus 1. The next is going to be 7 minus 1. And we have the next as 8 minus 1. And we have 9 minus 1. This is the meaning of this. So if we solve this out, what are we going to have? 2 minus 1, 1. And this is 2. This is going to give us 3. This is going to give us 4. This is going to be 5. And we're going to have 6. We're going to have 7. And we're going to have 8. So what do we see here? It means that we are multiplying 1 to 8. And if we look at this expression, this factorial says that n factorial is the same thing as n into bracket n minus 1 n minus 1 into n minus 2 into n minus 3 into n minus, let's stop at n minus 4 factorial and all that. If you want to stop, whenever you want to stop, you have to put that factorial. So if we look at 2 factorial, 2 factorial is going to give 1 times 2. 3 factorial is going to give 1 times 2 times 3. Now, without being told, you can see that 1 times 2 to 8 is going to give us 8 factorial. 8 factorial is going to give us all this. That means that all this is 8 factorial. It shows that this expression itself is 8 factorial. So now we're going to put in back this 8 factorial into this equation. So what do we have? We're going to have 8 factorial times x factorial to 10 factorial. Then we'll be able to solve for the value of x. So the next thing we have to do, because we're looking for x, the next thing we have to do is to divide both sides by 8 factorial. And when we do that, divide both sides by 8 factorial, divide it by 8 factorial. What do we have left? 8 factorial cancels 8 factorial. So we're going to have x factorial equals 10 factorial over 8 factorial. But from this formula, we can see that n factorial goes by removing 1, 1, 1 from it. So that means if we're going to 8 factorial, this can be written as 10 into bracket 9 into bracket 8 factorial. Like we said here, the last one you need is the one you're going to put factorial on, divided by 8 factorial. So 8 factorial cancels 8 factorial. You're going to have x factorial equals 10 times 9, which is 90. But don't forget, we are only asked to find the value of x. So we need to get rid of this factorial. So what do? Divide both sides by 1 factorial. If we do that, we're going to have x factorial over 1 factorial equals 90 divided by 1 factorial. And don't forget that 1 factorial is the same thing as 1. So factorial cancels out factorial. So we're going to have x equals 90 divided by 1. So the answer here is going to be 90. X equals to 90. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next one.